All right, so let's talk about it. So, for months, and I mean months, probably since November, hell, even since August of last year, I've been saying, yo, Jimmy did the right thing. And now everybody's starting to see it. Now, see, I'm not a bitter person, but I do want my apologies. I do. I'm not even gonna lie. I want my apologies. Because y'all called me crazy. Y'all said that, I was just, just a Jimmy Uso girl. Da 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 da. Okay, cool. That may be true. But paying attention to everything that's been going on and paying attention to what's happening now, I was 100% correct and in my right damn mind. And here's why. Let's take it back to SummerSlam. How did we even get to tribal combat? Roman took out the one person that Jay could rely on, the one person that he loves, the person that shared a womb with him, the person that shared everything with him for his entire life. He took that one piece away from him in hopes to see him spiral, in hopes to see him give up, in hopes to see him fall back in line because Jimmy and Jay were rebelling against Roman. Solo and Roman took Jimmy out. So therefore, there was no longer someone in Jay's ear to talk and be like, this isn't right. We shouldn't be doing this. That fueled a fire in Jay that they had never seen before. When he came back into Madison Square Garden and attacked them from behind, they weren't expecting that. They thought he had left the building. We then get to tribal combat. Solo interferes in the match. Jay hits the pin. 1, 2, he gets pulled out of the ring. It's his twin brother. We then get to that Friday. Roman thinks everything is all good. He feels like Jimmy did it for him and he was on his side, blah, 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 whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. No. Jay then comes out and he wants to hear why the fuck his brother did what he did. Jimmy then tells him, I didn't want you to become this arrogant, asshole, manipulative person like Roman. Walk with me. We're going to come back to that. There was supposed to be another segment the next week. Unfortunately, we had the passing of Bray Wyatt, so they had to push it back a week. That week comes. Now we got to deal with John Cena. All right, cool. Jimmy and John get into it. John versus John in the ring, Jimmy goes to talk to Pierce. Meechin's there. He gets into it with Meechin. AJ run up on him. Solo then comes in and relays the message. You're not out of the bloodline until we say that you're out of the bloodline. So that was another manipulation tactic to get Jay to come back. Y'all missed it. It was a manipulation tactic to get into Jay's head to say, well, see, we can go through all of this and we can get your brother to come back. It's okay for you to come back as well. But it didn't work on Jay because Jay had already quit 2 weeks prior. Now Jimmy is confused. He's used to being in a group. He's used to having his twin brother. He doesn't have that anymore. So now he's running with the bloodline. And those same manipulation tactics that Roman was using on Jay, he's now using them on Jimmy. And because there's no one to be in Jimmy's ear to be like, hey, he's playing you, this isn't right. That's how we got to where the fuck we got. But you also have to remember, Jimmy's not an idiot. He's not an idiot. He figured Roman out in 2021. He's been figured Roman out. So now, Roman's out. Essentially, Jimmy's running the bloodline. He's running the bloodline from like late August all the way up until December. Because Roman came back late November, early December, right? This is after the match with LA Knight. So yeah, we get to December. We're moving on. It is time for Roman to name his heir. His heir to the throne. In the case that he ever loses his title, this person has been being groomed this entire time to step up to the plate and become the next tribal chief. And being that Jimmy had been playing the role of the right-hand man that entire time Roman was gone from work, Jimmy thought, okay, maybe I could step up and do this, because he had already felt a little bit of that power. I don't know if y'all noticed the change in his character. Yes, he was funny, he was doing the thing, but he had already felt some of that power that he didn't want for himself or for his twin brother. He had already felt that. So he thought, okay, maybe I'll be the heir. He was gassing himself up. He was like, all right, cool. Then Roman says, Solo, you are my successor. You are next up. Come here and give me a hug. I love you. All right. Boom. That's December. Now we move into January. Now they're trying to beef us back up for brother versus brother. So what do we get? At the Rumble, the first two entries for the Royal Rumble was Jimmy and Jay. Now let's backtrack a little bit. Let's go back to Fastlane, where Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso win the tag titles together. Now y'all can say that's where the jealousy kicked in, but the Usos had never won anything without each other. So yes, of course, Jimmy was going to cost his brother that title, because why in the fuck would you go and win a championship, a tag team championship, with somebody that's never really been your tag partner? Y'all were just put in a situation to get these titles. Going back to January. See, that's where y'all started saying, oh, he's jealous. No, that's kind of going against him as a brother. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Fast forward, we get back to the Rumble. They are the first two entries. This is the first time that they've been face to face in a ring together as single competitors. Now they have to go head to head for the first 5 whatever minutes. No one gave a fuck about what the fuck Grayson Waller was talking about. He got eliminated immediately. No one cared. We got a preview right then and there. And that preview, even then, showed us that those two men did not want to fight each other. There was even times during that match where they checked on each other. But they did it so slick y'all wasn't really peeping game, right? Breaking character and shit, you know? Then we get the continuous of Jimmy and Solo coming over to Raw and fucking up everything possible for Jay. We're telling a story here of the twins need to be together. That's what we're doing. We're telling a story here of that. Then we get to the face-to-face. Jay finally calls out Jimmy. I can't handle my business because you keep popping up. So what's up? Now it's time. Brother versus brother. WrestleMania. Okay. Then they have a face-off at Raw. Jay says to Jimmy, I told you you could always come with me to Raw. Jimmy told him, I never left you. I been told you I never left you. I been told you that I did that for you. Then they'd have the whole dream match thing. I'm gonna kick the yeet off of you, kick them in the face, boom. Now we're gonna fast forward. We get to the match. We know how y'all feel about the match. I'm not even gonna speak about how y'all feel about the match. Inside the match, Jimmy uses Jay's feelings against him in that match. He attempted to apologize and hug his brother in the match and have a vulnerable moment in the match, which was then met with the super kick. But it also lets you know, hey, maybe this could have been real in any other scenario. Night 2 happens. Roman loses the belt. Raw after Mania happens. Jay qualifies to be the first contender or the top contender to be the first person to have a match with El Campeon in France, right? Cool. Loved every second of that. I was actually there in person, but that's not neither here nor there. We fast forward to Friday. Paul Heyman says the words to Solo and Jimmy when they go to the locker room. There are consequences to losing. Solo being in the mindset of, okay, Roman said once he loses his title, if anything happens to him, I am now the tribal chief. So he's already put this into plan immediately. So he hears Paul say that, and he goes, bet losing has consequences. Later on in that night, the bloodline goes to have a promo. Solo attacks Jimmy, and here's where everything starts rolling. Solo attacks Jimmy. Tama Tonga debuts. Now we have the right-hand man of this new era of the bloodline. We go to France. There's a match. At this point, Solo has changed up his whole wardrobe. Solo is coming to work in suits. Button down. Red shirt. Red belt. Shoes. Black suit. The next week after they come back, Brody got on gloves. Tongaloa debuted at Backlash. So now you have an extra person in there. So essentially, what Tama Tonga and Tongaloa is, they are the Usos of the original version of the bloodline because they are brothers. We keep going on. Things get more intimidating. They start picking at Paul because Paul doesn't know what the fuck is going on because he hasn't spoken to Roman. Solo was lying to Paul and saying, hey, I've spoken to him. He said he ain't coming back. He said I'm in charge. Now what's up? And then this is where y'all should have started looking back into last summer when Jimmy said to Jay, I didn't want you to inherit that power that makes you like him. And he pointed at Roman. Because that power that Roman had, that nastiness that Roman had, is now on Solo. But it's darker. Way darker. So now we have this bloodline here. And then we get to this past Friday. This was supposed to be the anointing of Jacob Fatu, but Solo, learning some things from Roman and taking some things out of Roman's book, he has already started playing mind games with Paul. So here we are. And the moment that all of y'all finally realized what was going on and that he had inherited the power was when Solo stood up there and said, Madison Square Garden, acknowledge me. Then he had everyone that was a part of his bloodline, including Jacob Fatu, who is his enforcer, who is now taking the role over from him as being the enforcer, to acknowledge him. Even down to having the Ufala and wanting Paul to put it around his neck the way that he used to do Roman. Solo sat quiet for a year because he was a student of the game, and none of y'all paid attention. Y'all thought he was just a mute with a thumb. He had been studying every single thing that Roman had been doing and trying to find a way to be better than Roman and to take the emotion out of everything. Because if you guys ever noticed, once they tell Solo to stop doing something, Solo continues to do what the fuck Solo wants to do. When Roman feels bad about something, he cries and then he snaps out of it. Solo doesn't have that ability. So again, did y'all want to see Jey Uso be that? I want everybody to apologize to Jimmy Uso for calling him a jealous weirdo when he's been justified in everything he's done since August. And I want y'all to apologize to me because people have called me crazy for sticking behind that man's side. Y'all have called me crazy for continuously week in and week out saying he was right for what he did and he was justified in everything that he did to Jay. Because what's going on now, is a product of what would have happened had the ref hit 3 on Jey Uso. And it could be a lot worse than what it is. Everything was right there in front of all of our faces. I don't know why everybody chose to not pay attention to it. Solo is what Roman was, minus the emotion of caring about the people around him. Jimmy did not want his twin brother to do that. He even said, if you want to become the tribal chief, then what? what happens to you, Usos? I didn't want to lose you. Solo was already lost. Solo been lost. They even said at the SmackDown before Money in the Bank that if anybody was to step up, it would be Solo. Because they already saw it in him. They didn't want that. And y'all really thought that this man was just hating when it had all been laid out in front of y'all all this time? It had been laid out for y'all since July of 2023. Yeah, we were getting to this point. But you know what? I just be talking. So, yeah, I got it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All that stuff that YouTubers be saying. And I'll see y'all in my next video.